Morning, all. Well, it's a fine rainy morning here in Mountain View, and I have my ahi tuna shirt on. So, today, I'm going to do something just a little bit different. I'm going to talk some philosophy. Yeah. Now, there is a quote out there, supposedly attributed to Mahatma Gandhi, the guy that managed to get the English out of India without firing a shot. Pretty impressive. The quote usually reads as, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." Now, that's ordinarily attributed to Gandhi. It is not what he said. It's similar. Somebody paraphrased it along the line. I don't know who did that. The true full quote is as such. "We but mirror the world. All the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found in the world of our body. If we can change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change towards him. This is the divine mystery supreme. A wonderful thing it is, and the source of our happiness. We need not wait to see what others do." Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, so there is the actual quote, which is probably a little harder to make your way through than "be the change you wish to see in the world." The definition or meaning to translate that paragraph, it could be read as, "The world cannot change on its own. It takes a collective effort. Be an example by changing yourself first and inspire others to do the same." Now, as far as I'm concerned, greater wisdom about the nature of our reality and dealing with everything here has never really been spoken by anybody. This whole thing about if you change the way you think, you're going to change the world around you is so true. It is so true. For those of you who don't practice this, you may be surprised to find how well it works. With that in mind, if you'll forgive me, I'm going to talk about myself just a bit, because it's going to be easier to explain where I'm going with that. There was a point in my life, all right, it's in my late teens, where one day I made a declaration, and I made it to myself, and I made it to my friends and people around me at the time, that I wished to leave this world in a better condition than I found it. That was a commitment that I made to this life. I have frequently, yes, too frequently, been told that anytime I start talking about global warming, water pollution, air pollution, problems with the environment, etc., 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 I get nailed by people out there that say, "Oh, Bill, you poor sap, you're just another patsy of the media. You've picked up the cookie cutter environmentalist approach that's being produced by liberals through the media. You're dumb," basically, is what I'm being told, that I'm not bright enough to be able to understand the true nature of what's happening here. I am media duped. Well, fact of the matter is, I definitely use media. I have to. Where else do you derive data from other than, your physical space? Right? But if it's outside my physical space, it's pretty much going to come to me through some sort of media or another. The idea that my viewpoint on clean living here is something that I picked up secondhand from a media source is the biggest load of horse crap I have ever run across. I understand you can see me in the camera, but you don't know who I am. Okay? you don't know anything about me. Not really. You think you know. You know only what I let you know. Unless you're really astute and observant and can see behind the face there, behind the mask. You know what I want you to know and let you know. But subjects I don't discuss much. As for instance, this environmental aspect that I have, viewpoint on the world about how to handle this planet. I was born that way. And I can prove it. I was born into this world with the feelings that I currently express. I was only 4 years old, and sometimes in Chicago, my mother and I missed the bus at our local stop. So that meant we're going to have to catch another one at a distant stop. It took about a 6-block walk, and we had to cross the Chicago River to do this. Now, if there's anybody out there who lived in Chicago during the 1950s, you can raise your hand, and you can tell the other people around you. The river was coal black. Yes, it was a disgusting sewer. There were friends of mine who referred to it as the Rubber River because you could sit on the bridge and count the condoms as they floated downstream to the Illinois River. It's true. It was just Chicago's sewer. The Egyptians had the pyramids, right? Yeah. The Chinese had the Great Wall, right? Chicago? Chicago turned around the Chicago River. It used to flow into Lake Michigan, but once they started using it as a sewer, they couldn't use the beaches on the lakefront in Chicago anymore because they were covered in toilet paper. And so they had to actually reverse the course of the river and use it as a cesspool and drain all of their garbage down to the Illinois River, to the Mississippi, and down to Louisiana. That's what they did. The great public works of Chicago reversed an entire river. So the Egyptians had a pyramid, and Chicago had the biggest sewer in the world. This is true. I ain't making any of this up. So we had to cross that thing. Now, bear in mind, I'm a small child. That bridge, it had wood cleats to walk on for passage people. And there were gaps, I believe, almost that big between these cleats. And a small person, small foot, the gaps scared me because I felt as if somehow or another I might slip through. And that meant I would encounter the river. Now, even at that age, I was very comfortable in water. Yes. Yeah, I've never been uncomfortable in the water. That just hasn't ever happened to me. And so it wasn't water. It was the sewage, the filth, the garbage. It was so disgusting to me that I used to have nightmares about it. As I'd wake up in the middle of the night screaming, afraid that the water in that river would touch me. That's how bad I felt about it. It was scary, man. As the boogeyman for me was the environment. We used to get to the stock car track, Santa Fe, track of clay. We used to have to go past one of the very, very large Chicago garbage dumps. I don't know how they do things today over there, but in those days, they piled that crud up. They had huge brown mountains of slop stinking, and we used to drive by it. I would see it, and again, the horrific feelings it left in me about how disgusting this was. I would have nightmares. Yeah, the nightmares, the boogeyman, were creatures that lived inside the dump, traveling through tunnels. And they were covered in brown dump slime and all this. Don't let them touch you. They'll take you in. So, I used to wake up with nightmares about the dump. I was probably about 10 and 11, somewhere in there at that point. So, this idea that Bill's environmental viewpoint, his environmental politic, has something to do with being a liberal or has something to do with media indoctrination as I said, that is the biggest cart of horse crap. I'm born this way. Yep. And by the time I was about 17, I made a declaration to the world that I was going to leave the world in better shape than I found it. Yeah. It was in here. It was not a mental concept per se. This was very deep in the heart. And, well, back in those days, I had suffered through 8 years of Christian education. And that education left me in a situation of belief where if you want to change things, if you want to improve the world, if you want to, bring things around to a better way, well, you had to get out and you had to preach morality. Don't pollute the river. It's bad. You should not do that. It kills the fish. Makes the water poison. Damages the earth. It's our mother. Yeah, all of that, though, which is classic environmentalism, unfortunately. That's right on down to Sierra Club, that the way they try to get through stuff most of the time is shame, come on, you could do a much better job than that. You should know better. It utilizes morals and ethics more than anything else. Now, there's science there, too, which is hard and cold. But, of course, we deny science, and I don't know anything, Right, there's the guys on the internet that, spread the media stuff. The guys that know what's going on here. It's not the guys that dedicated their life to trying to find solutions to things and answers. Well, heading off into the world with my soapbox under my arm and standing on it and letting everybody know that this is not good. We need to fix this. Yes. Give me a break. Morality and ethics, they take you as far as the next paycheck, and you can't buy your groceries, and so much for morality. It wears thin. Yeah, it's a veneer for us more than it is an actual reality when we're working with things. It's using the moral argument, the ethical argument, has some effect on some people, but for the most part, it puts everybody else to sleep. Boy, I tell you, if you want to be the guy no one wants to invite to a party, you just go ahead and make a moral argument on why we should have a greener world. Yeah. So, it was years later that I found myself hitting a wall with confusion, finding out that preaching was not going to help at all. It was a wrong viewpoint. After I spent quite a bit of time researching Eastern mythologies, mostly Taoism, Buddhism, I began to realize the error in my ways. Yeah. You can't change anybody's mind, and you aren't going to change anybody's mind by shaming them either. This is not going to happen. So, as Mahatma Gandhi said, if you want to change the world, live your thoughts. Be the change that you wish to see. So, you start growing organic food. You ain't asking anybody else for anything about it or nothing. You just start growing your own organic food, and you become maybe successful at it. Hey, you find out, that, you know what? It's a myth that it's all got to be grown on chemicals, because it does just fine on more biodegradable materials that don't damage the planet. Yeah, right. It's just convenience that causes it to be grown with so many chemicals. You find out a lot of things, okay? And eventually, if you're like me, you realize that the amount of CO2 that we generate is just entirely unacceptable. And so I convert to solar, I get an EV, I don't know. I do all these things to try to minimize my carbon output. Then I started a YouTube channel. Now, initially, this channel was started as a business promotion. I started this channel to show everybody what the Green Garden Guy could do, so you'd hire me and bring me into your landscape and help you consult or prune your fruit trees or something like that, do a design. And it worked. But later on, I realized what a tool this channel really can be. And it's that, if anybody may have noticed, yes, I almost never tell anyone what they should be doing here. I gave that up a long time ago. So what I do instead is I do it, and then I tell you what I'm doing. And usually I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Yeah, most of the time too. It's quite profitable. Yeah, one way or another. In other words, I don't do a lot of things that make my life miserable. Most things I engage in give me a better space to live in, And so I put it on the channel. I talk about it. I tell you what I do. But what you do about it, that's up to you. I get a lot of guys out there, who think I'm probably, trying to tell them what they should be doing or something. They'll come back to me with a vengeance, complaining about how dumb I am and how that ain't never going to work, and so on and so forth. Give me 100 reasons why what I do isn't right and can't be done. Yeah, they're the guys that don't understand, I think, where I'm coming from with this. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I do. And what I do, hey, it's cool. Yes, it's very cool. I'm extremely pleased with the direction my life has taken and the types of things I've engaged myself in, where I put my energy. And it's a capitalistic society. This is a world where everybody wants to keep up with the Joneses and people peeking over the fence. What's that guy doing next door? Really. That's what this social media influencer stuff is all about, Oh, look at me, you should have your hair like mine. Well, I stick it out there. You guys look at it, and if you like it, it's up to you. But my point is, if it looks good, do it. But I ain't going to tell you to do it. I'm just going to explain to you why I do it. That's all. And so that was a rather large switch in how I presented things. Yeah. So it's really a massive social tendency that we have to point outward. When it doesn't look right, when I feel uncomfortable with it, when it just doesn't seem like that's the way we would want to have it, most of the time, it appears to me that most of us look outward. We go, I should be a law. Why doesn't the government do something? It's the Bilderbergers. Yeah, New World Order is messing with me. On and on and on and on and on and on. You can find 1,000 different things that you can blame your state on, but the truth is, your state is your state of mind. And when you change it, you live in a different world. You change the entire world that you live in. Your thoughts are your reality. And it's seriously important that you pay close attention to where they're going and what they're doing. Because when you start thinking in a certain direction, that's your life, man. Yes, it is. And the only way anything here ever changes is it starts with you. It starts with you. Once you start doing it and you're successful at it, others are going to see what's going on there, and there's a pretty good chance some of them are going to pick up from it, and they're going to start to do some of it themselves. I admit sometimes I intentionally try to make people slightly jealous of my situation. It's my attitude that in our society, that's a pretty good motivator. I don't do it to belittle people or for any other reason whatsoever, except it's kind of my sales pitch. It's how I do business on this channel. It's the reason the channel still exists. Yeah, I don't need this channel for my commercial applications anymore. Oh, occasionally I advertise the pineapple tops and a few things on it. I'll let you know I got something. So a little bit of it likes this commercial. But for the most part, this channel exists here just because that's a mouthpiece. I got stuff to say, I figure. Yeah. I've had stuff to say my whole life, and it's only been a matter of trying to figure out how to say it so that other people would listen and understand. I don't see that I can change the world. Exactly. The only thing I can do is set an example, and then maybe others may follow suit. It's a slow process. And if you need satisfaction out of it, you got to be satisfied with little bitty miracles, little bitty times where you win. I call them aperture moments. There'll be one sudden moment where you've been saying something, the same thing maybe for the last 20 years, but all of a sudden there's a spot where it plugs in. Yeah, when that happens, you got a moment, and sometimes you move the world with a fingertip. Yes, you can find a tremendous amount of power when you're saying the right thing in the right place at the right time. Outside of the right place at the right time, you're probably wasting hot air. True. Yeah, and I had folks out there who's trying to engage me in debate. No, Bill, we got to debate this. This doesn't agree with what I think I know, so we got to debate it. Well, tell you what, ain't no debate. I know where I'm at. I know what I'm doing. I know that it works. Okay, and I guess the only debate I can think of most of the time when people challenge me there is, why do you do it that way? Yeah, why do you do it that way? And if it's a problem, why are you watching this channel? Yes. Yeah, there's no good reason to watch this channel, I think, unless you hope to get something from it. At the very least, you're amused. Yeah, at the very least. Yeah, that's successful too. Amusement makes a better world. Yeah, it does. I can watch the dumbest videos on YouTube just because they make me laugh, and I need that at least once a day. Yeah, gotta recharge the laugh bank. Well, that's about all for today. I was just trying to get out there some of the stuff that I've kind of been hiding behind the curtain. I feel a little bit like the Wizard of Oz, because all of it's back there. It's all back here behind this guy here, but I usually don't quite let it out, and I really don't think that a lot of people really understand why I say these things and what it's all about and how I got here. So I just let you know. Yeah, I utilize media as data, but I am not a product of or indoctrinated by that media. I came into this world with the same job that I'm holding right now. It was unavoidable for me. There was no way around it. You really can't walk away from yourself. No. If it causes you pain, if it stresses you, if you don't like it, and if you think there's a better way, well, best thing to do is go for it, Charlie. All right, folks, you all hang loose. Aloha. Later.